Welcome back, everybody, to Ultimate CNFT. Mike, aka Mr. Ultimate, here today, and we're talking to Patrick from the Pedigree Society. Now, I've spoken to Patrick a couple times here, and I'm excited to have him on the show. He's going to be telling us everything about the project, where they came from, where they're at, where they're going, the mint details, all the good, juicy stuff. And now you guys get a chance to meet a founder the way you can only do so right here on Ultimate CNFT. Patrick, how you doing, bro?
I'm good, yeah. Looking forward to speaking. I know we've linked up a couple of times privately before, so yeah, looking forward to speaking, getting your viewers knowing, like, if they don't know about the project already, introduce them to the Pedigree Society, and yeah, looking forward
Let's
to it.
introduce him, man. I'll tell you something right now. The name and the accent are just really nicely linked here. I'm really enjoying it, man. Patrick, you're just gonna throw down all kinds of Pedigree Society stuff for us right now in Ultimate CNFT. So, first of all, let's talk about your art. And how that whole thing got started and how that blends into the project and all this stuff. Then we're going to have you just kind of tell us the journey of, why you started and how everything got kicked off, maybe the people you're working with. But right now I want to talk about the art because I really actually do like the art. It's got a very classic look to it. It's very detailed. And I think that, a lot of times in this space, people forget about the fact that NFTs kind of started as digital art. So I liked what I saw from the first minute I saw the first renditions of what you're drawing. Who is your artist? How did this all come about? Tell us about it.
Yeah, so our artist is Sumak, and he's part of the core team. So I've known him for a couple of years now. And yeah, it was a case of, I had the idea, and we'll probably touch on this a bit later on, I had the idea of the utility side of things first. And then it was a case of, okay, how do we get it off the ground? And being in the space, just, started off as like a degen in the space really back in 2021. And then it was a case, okay, well, let's do it through a collection. Obviously new Sumak, and we were talking about the art, that's his like art style. So, like the brushed art to the artifacts. So yeah, and then the inspiration itself, so like the Pedigree Society and like the base character has come from, like, I've got two poodles myself, so it's like a poodle base character. And then yeah, just because I've been in this space, being on the other side of it, where there's been in like communities, and I've always like pictured having like a collection type thing, so it's like it was really exciting to actually be able to do it, and obviously like be able to work towards something which is building a brand and building this actual utility and stuff. So yeah, we've tried. There's not many projects that have this type of 2D art style. We obviously know a couple of them, and we have been compared to a couple. But I mean, we're still different when you actually do look at it. But we tried to bring our own spin on it. The actual collection itself, the way it's made up, there's a lot of parts to it. So it's not just a case of it's 4,444 NFTs within the collection, but it's not a case of they're all like it's split into like 9 different social groups. Certain traits are only going to be found in certain social groups. So you've got like royals, so you'll only get certain royal traits in there. Working dogs, you got like city dogs, so like they're more like your suits and stuff like that, nobles and stuff like that. So we really went into depth about trying to create first and foremost the best art collection, and then that kind of just ties in because with like the utility side of things. So yeah, it's been a good journey. We've been working on the collection since October now.
Yeah, I was going to say, you guys have been doing this for a while now, right?
Yeah.
From what I remember, I mean, this is not something that was just created yesterday.
No.
You guys have put a lot of thought into that, and of course, the art coming first. Now, you kind of got ahead of me a little bit here because you mentioned that you had that's all right. That's how we do this. You mentioned that you have 4,400 of them. So while we're talking about the art and the traits and everything, I know that you guys have actually cut back from your original, which I think was a great idea. You read the market, which was great. You can talk to us about the mint price and how you guys got with all that stuff there in a minute. But when it comes to the traits themselves, with the 4,400 NFTs, how many traits are there spread out within these 4,400 NFTs we're minting?
So there's over just over 300 hand-drawn traits.
Wow.
So,
And so
you
they're
know,
all
so
hand drawn and there's 300 of them. So we're talking
yeah,
about there's going to be a good amount of rarities. We're not going to see a lot of repeat of the same, dog, or maybe just with a different frame or a different background, stuff like that, right?
yeah, no. So like, because we've been creating the collection itself over the past couple of weeks, and it's, it's done now and stuff. So it wasn't a case of, if anyone's created a collection before, some people might just do it in a one run, whereas this is made up of, I think it was like over 10, so it might have been 12 runs, and then you've got all the fine tuning as well. So it's a lot of work's gone into the actual creation of the collection itself. Because I mean,
Right.
like you touched on before, that was the basis of NFTs to start off with. Obviously we've got the utility side of things and stuff, but why I fell in love with Cardano and NFTs was, the art to start off with, and then, community, and then it all just goes hand in hand. So yeah, a lot of work's being put into it.
Yeah. How is your community receiving the readiness for mint? I mean, you guys are coming up on June 13th here. That's just roughly, about a week or so, less than a
6
week actually,
days.
until you
Yeah.
guys actually come to your mint day. And community is a very obviously important part in getting ready to bring everything to fruition, the finalization of, here we were, here we are, and now we've got all these things to go, but we have to have a successful mint. We have to have the people who are part of the community getting ready and being excited about finally bringing something from an idea of October to where we're at now in June 2023. What's the sentiment in your community like? And I mean, are they ready to go? Are they excited? Are they
Yeah,
chomping at the bit to mint here?
yeah, they're excited. I think the good thing with our community is a lot of people have been in there from pretty much the get-go, so they've stuck around, and a lot of them are like VIP holders, so that a lot of them have been in from the start. So yeah, everyone's excited. We've only just recently, because originally we said it was going to be $65 equivalent in ADA, for the mint price. So we've locked in a mint price now. It's slightly below the $65. I think it was 50, with the current price of ADA, I think it works out about $52 or $53. So it's a slight reduction in mint price. That's been locked in. So everything's locked in, ready to go now. So it's, starting to feel the
Real quick,
excitement.
is it locked in dollar price, or is it locked in ADA price?
ADA.
Okay,
So
and
it's
what is that mint price?
155 ADA for public.
55 ADA. Okay, and
Yeah,
we're looking at
and
44 print run. Okay, and everyone's feeling pretty good about that.
yeah,
All
it's
right.
been received well. Because I think if we left it in at the $65 at today's price, I think that was touching like 180, 185.
Right.
And, so it was just doing it in a way where, because we've obviously got our plans and, it's like the value of our company really. So it's a case of, and we're not going to just, drop half the mint price and stuff like that. So like, it was a case of just finding like a fine balance between, okay, maybe 180 might be on the higher end. We feel like this is a nice medium. And then when we talk about the utility side of things, it's 75% of it's going straight back into, development and stuff like that. So it's about, raising this capital almost, and then we're putting it back in to build, a sustainable product and a new use case for NFTs, which we'll touch on a bit later on. So
yeah, I'm excited about that part. I mean, because I already know some of these things from the previous talks that we've had, but we're going to be telling everybody else at large here. So you're in an interesting situation here, and I love talking about these things because they need to be talked about in the space. Especially love having these conversations with founders because the space moves so quickly. Things are just so topsy-turvy. I mean, even right now, you're talking about, locking in the price of ADA for your mint, and it's coming up in 6 days. And now we've got all this topsy-turvy action within Cardano, within ADA itself. We've got all these this stuff going on with the SEC. We've got macro environments that are obviously far beyond the reach and the control of any of us. Doesn't matter if you're a founder, if you're it just doesn't matter. We are subject to what goes on there. So that combined with also a time of, I would say, in my personal opinion, at this time, the bottom has already been reached. This is just my personal opinion. Within the bear market, you're starting to see a little bit of a bounce back and a little bit of a rebound. A lot of that might have to do with a lot of the money that's been flooding into Cardano from meme season or whatever else it may be. But, when it comes to us founders developing things in the space, there's so much that we have to balance and deal with. What are your thoughts about being in the space right now? And at what point did you decide, hey, you know what, this is the time for us to mint, regardless of any of the macro environment things, we're ready to go. Let's bring this out.
I think it's a case of there's only so much you can really look at external factors, isn't it? If you believe in your product, you know, we've been working. It's not a case of we just come out and, you know, it's not like a new meme coin that's just launched, you know, come out onto the scene a week ago and they've said they're going to launch now. So we've never really rushed into any sort of decision. We've always like looked at it and, you know, we're all ready to go. It's a case of, okay, let's take this to the next level now. You know, let's begin minting. And obviously we have had that bit of a lull in the CNFT market, but lately there's been a lot of good, you know, it's, you know, people are starting to probably put meme profits into some, you know, blue chips and stuff like that. So there is the money, the liquidity in the space and stuff. And yeah, it's just a case of backing yourself, really, isn't it? It's you believe in your product, you know, and you believe in what you're trying to achieve. So it's and I mean there has been successful mints lately as well, you know. So and
it's good to see that again. I'll tell you what, because it was getting pretty dull and getting pretty dreary in the space when, you know, you had in my opinion, there was a lot of good projects that have come in the last several months, and they couldn't mint out, they couldn't get going to where they needed to go because the space itself was not supporting it. The liquidity was all dried up. Everybody was kind of waiting to see what happened. And so now that we're starting to see those things turn around, I mean, timing is very important when it comes to the release of a project, and especially something that's been being built for a while. You know, when you really put a lot of work, a lot of effort, you've got the art, in my opinion. We're gonna talk about the utility here. You know, you're building the community. You've got the people who are supporting you. You've got your mint price set. You've got your number of NFTs set. It's an exciting time in the space. We're heading into summer. A lot of people have been talking about Cardano summer. I mean, we're all kind of waiting for things to really turn around. And once you gain momentum, you know, you can really do a lot with that. Tell me really quickly about, you know, the beginning portion of the NFTs you've already released, the passes that you have. I know I bought a couple of these early. I liked them. Once I saw your guys' art, I said, this is something I want to hold on to because I want to make sure that no matter what the environment's like, I don't want to miss out on my opportunity to be able to mint this. Tell us a little bit about your passes, what people and the holders can expect from that, you know, whether it comes to just minting the project itself or what comes on beyond that. And then we'll start getting some utility and some of the ideas behind why you're building Pedigree Society the way you're doing it.
Yeah, so people might have seen we've got Pedigree invitations to calls. So there's 400 of them. They're in an NFT form. So like you said, you hold some as well. There's a number of benefits to that, really. So the first one is like you're part of the core community within the space. So you have your own portion of like the Discord server, you know, exclusive giveaways, really like the core community members within our community. And then you've got the most obvious ones that a lot of people probably associate with invitations and stuff like that is like the top, you know, your minting, like whitelist meta type thing around it. So there is the minting element to it. So the invitation holders get top tier minting privileges. So they can mint up to 5. They get 10% discount on their mints as well. So nice. That's all. That's all good, but we wanted to go one step further, really, because for us it's a case of, okay, well, once the mint happens and people realize, you know, people use their minting privileges and stuff like that, we don't just want like the invitations just sat there and not bringing any sort of utility in. So we've got this plan in place, and it's, you know, it's on its way because the holders have started voting on. So basically, there's 400 NFTs, and holders will get the chance after mint to burn their NFTs, and in the whole process, they'll burn the NFT and receive like an exclusive NFT from a new collection, which would be the VI Pedigree collection, and that would be made up of different breeds, and it's holder led. So I'm not too sure if you're seeing because you're in our Discord, but holders have been voting on like the favorite submitting breeds and voting on the favorite breeds, and then Sumix like went away and drew up a golden retriever. The latest one that was picked was a German Shepherd. So it'll be a different collection, And then you've also got additional utility on top of that. So there's 5% equity. So we haven't touched on this yet, but from the get-go, we set up a limited company in the UK. It's called the Pedigree Sock Limited. So it's on Companies House, and 5% of the equity in our business has been allocated across the 400 invitations. So if you went onto JPEG now, you could see underneath the invitation itself, there's actually like a digital share certificate that represents like that agreement, really. So you've not only got the NFT benefits and the minting benefits, you've also got the long term, like almost like relationship and benefit. Because for us, because we're building something that's right on cue, the dog's barking. Because we're building something that's gonna be sustainable, it's gonna last, and any successful project or brand has the community and has that. So for us, it was a case of, okay, let's like gift the 5% equity to the invitation holders and form that relationship where they're going to want to, push us forward, further down the line, and we'll have an interest, stay interested basically. And for us, it was kind of like a thank you for being, our early adopters and early starters and stuff like that. So yeah, so that's, I think I never missed anything else with the invitations, but I think that's pretty much.
Let me ask you a question about the invitations, because just so I can make sure that I understand. So you can burn some of the actual NFTs themselves. Do you have to burn the invitation with that, or is?
Sorry, I've probably mixed that up a bit. So, so the invitations can be burned after mint, but you don't burn any from the main collection. This is just completely separate. So you use your invitation when you're minting next week, to access like your minting privileges and stuff. But then, say a month down the line, a month and a half down the line, we'll then speak to the holders and be like, okay, well, it's, you get the chance now to burn your invitation, and the invitation will go off the blockchain, and then you will then get a new piece from the VI Pedigree collection. So
I see. So you're burning the invitations, not the actual 4,400 collection. Okay, good. I'm glad I asked that question because I wasn't sure about that yet. Yeah. So, in order to maintain the utility that goes along with it, and especially a portion of the 5% equity, do you have to burn that invitation to receive the new NFT, or
it's transferable basically? So that's like associated with the holder of the invitation, not so much. So if you burn the invitation, the share certificate and stuff, and that will go, to your VI Pedigree collection piece. So for us, it was just a case of we wanted to give holders an option to not just have an invitation on the blockchain, but have, a new cool piece of art where, they might actually have their type of breed of dog because, they've been part of the process of selecting what breeds and stuff. So that's just
essentially what it really comes down to is the invitation itself can be burned for a limited run of 400 only of a whole different NFT. Is it going to be the same artist doing the whole thing? Just kind of like
Sumik's doing it. So same style, different breeds. But
as far as I know, I don't think anyone's really done it to where you can turn the actual pass itself into an NFT and still retain the utility. So that's actually a pretty cool idea. I like that. And obviously, there's a few things that I wanted to save for this interview here so people could learn, but I'm also learning about some of this stuff in real time here, you guys. So, and I got into these passes early. I have 4 of them, and I'm excited for the mints. I'm excited to see what's coming next. And I remember the first conversation you and I had. Basically, you told me a bit about your project, and I know that you've changed and evolved since then, because we had a talk probably about 3 months ago, maybe even longer. Maybe time goes by pretty quick, but we talked a long time ago. So you've added some things to it, but there was a general. I remember, if correct me if I'm wrong, but there was something that had to do with a certificate that had something to do with basically. Was it not a humane society, but catch me back on track here. What was the idea behind Pedigree Society and having to do with the animals themselves?
Okay, so the So we're talking about pore space side of things now. So we've got our utility is we're going to be building a platform which will allow pet owners to register their pets on the blockchain. So it's the certificate of blockchain authenticity. So you might have seen it on our Twitter and on our, information. We've been calling it CBAs just because it's easier than, reeling off the whole certificate of blockchain authenticity every time. So that's really where the idea so the idea for pore space and the new use case for blockchain. So in essence, this is separate, and how they link together is because revenues generated from pore space is going back into 30% is going back into the holders of the main collection. So that's how they link together. But the actual idea for pore space come first, and then it was a case of, okay, how do we get off the ground? And that's why we decided to go down the collection route, so we can build the community, raise the funds, and really give it a good go and make it a viable product. So, and we're touching on the pore space itself. It'll be a case of, I've got 2 dogs here, so I would register my dogs. Well, mint my dogs basically, and you mint a certificate of, you mint a CBA. And the purpose of this, there's a couple of benefits, but the one that I like to really touch on first is we're trying to bring pet. So, for example, you go to the vets and stuff, and they all have your pet's data and stuff like that. Whereas we're trying to create this thing where owners actually hold the pet's data. So it's a case of, if you took your dog on a trip or something, and God forbid something happened, you wouldn't then have to contact your vet for them to then contact, wherever you are. It would be you hold the pet's information. So they're going to be created on CIP68. So it'll be like an evolving NFT in a sense, but the pore space platform will facilitate it, and that's just one element to it. So that's what we get off the ground to start off with, and that's how we're going to bring in revenue streams to start off with for our holders. But there's going to be.
Let me backtrack real quick. So, is the main collection CIP68?
The main collection isn't CIP68.
Okay.
It's the CBAs, the
CBA.
pore
So
space.
essentially, from what I understand, is the CBAs are developing almost like a profile on an individual pet in a way. Okay, I see. And so that's the business, and that's where generates the revenue, which you now have chopped up into how does the revenue get chopped up exactly? You said 30% goes back into the project itself.
No, so 30% goes direct. So everything will go back into the business, from the revenues generated from pore space, but 30% of revenues generated from pore space technologies and pore space will be divided equally between the 4,444 NFTs. So I think that'll be done on a quarterly basis as soon as the revenue streams. Oh, sorry.
That's all right. I've got kittens down here.
You can see
my ankle's giving me a scratch up there. Let's see what you got there. You got one of your little buddies. You can show them on camera, make them famous.
Oh, that's scary, no, but
who gets to be the lead dog in the creation of the the traits? You're famous, buddy. That's cool, man.
She's the talker, so she's the big one. So, but yeah, I did tell my girlfriend to not let them come in, but she obviously didn't get the memo.
Hey, after all, this wouldn't exist if it wasn't for them, I'm assuming. So exactly, I take it like you're a real big dog lover, and I'm assuming that is the passion with which you're building your project behind. Yeah. I can see from myself some of the first renditions of the art I can see were actually must have been drawn after this dog itself. Yeah. And so turning it into a business, is a whole different story. You talked a little bit about the creation of, this authentication certificate. How do you plan on marketing that to, I guess, the broader spectrum? Because that's something that's going to be done outside of the NFT world, building the business, getting people incentivized to want to come and be a part of that. Is there a marketing campaign that you guys are building or working on or already done? Like, how are you planning on getting, I guess you could say mass adoption in a way, but not really mass adoption, but basically finding the ability to bring in the revenue?
Yeah, so that's a big thing, really. It's a case of, for us, it was really, we want to, I think our end goal is to have people using pore space and not even realize that they're, using blockchain technology. So we're going to market ourselves like a Web2 business through pore space. Obviously, people who are in Web3 will know that, we're blockchain, but we're going to be going big on Instagram, really marketing it as, do you want a pet profile, an online pet profile where you can store your pet's data and stuff like that? So that's how we
I
kind
like
of
that idea
target.
because for me, that's a circle of influence thing. I talk about it all the time. Everyone's got their own unique circle of influence in life. If you can start to bridge something out there to where basically, it's a Web2 thing, but then you're bringing people over and introducing people to what an NFT even is. That's a very unique circle of influence. Like you said, people might not even realize they're integrating into the blockchain.
Yeah.
I've been talking about for years, even on my channel back when I was more of a crypto YouTuber person, about how the technology of blockchain itself is going to integrate into every area of life. As time continues to go on, we're going to see blockchain everywhere. So now even this idea that you're having, bringing this to the fold, it's the first I've heard of anything like it. You're also targeting a multi-billion-dollar business. Itself is people and their pets. I mean, I know, so I live in Southern California. Everybody out here has a dog. Or a cat or multiple. I mean, I go on walks with my wife all the time, even in our own neighborhood. And we're waving at everybody, and everyone's got, 2, 3 dogs, some of them, and people love their pets. And so essentially, if you can make this work, in on a ground level, you can really market this, first of all, number one, worldwide, especially if you're going to tie in information. You had mentioned something earlier about almost like, another big business that I know of is when people do go on like vacation or whatever, they don't bring their pets with them, especially if they travel internationally. You can't do that. So you're leaving your pet with somebody else who's maybe either house sitting, or a big business down here in Southern California is people, it's like a pet hotel. You send your pet, they take care of your pet. They charge you an ungodly amount of money. You're better off paying someone to babysit your whole household, let me tell you. And but the fact is like, okay, so what if something does go wrong while you're gone, right? It's almost like having access to their information. And you said you want to bridge it to where like you're not going from like one, I guess, vet to another. Can you backtrack that a little bit more and help me to understand that as well as the audience?
Yeah, so it's kind of, there's stuff needs fine tuning from like a proper technical point of view for this, because but really it's a case of, for example, if you went to your vets and they needed, your dog had a certain issue or something, you would update your SIP68 CBA with that information, and keep like a health record on the chain almost, so you don't have to then go back to your vets every time, and your vets don't have to like liaise with each other, because we've obviously spoken to people within the industry already, and some people are still using like faxes almost to, contact each other's vets. So they are massively outdated.
Yeah.
So from us, it's kind of, we're going to be targeting like the consumer, so like your pet owners and stuff. But we really want to try and build like an infrastructure that the industry could use. So there's a lot of exciting talks happening about, where we target. But the initial one, which we know is achievable, like relatively short term, within like the next couple of months, it's a case of you'll be able to like get your dog certificate and like have like an online profile, or cats. So it's not just like relating to dogs, it'd be cats as well. And yeah, so that would be the first step. And then it's a case of, okay, because it is a new use case of blockchain, how can we fully utilize it? And, there's ideas coming up all the time. And it's just a case of, for us, it would be getting like a viable minimal product out to start with, and then, build from there. So you don't stress yourself too far. You get something that works, and then you push forward from there. So
yeah, I like it. Well, an interesting thing to bring up and talk about is when you first started, I guess, coming up with the idea of this whole thing and bringing it together, there wasn't even SIP68 around at that time. So when
Yeah.
that came along, that must have been a light bulb moment for you guys to be like, we can take this technology now, which didn't even exist a few months ago, and integrate this into our idea and how to bring this into, getting it out there to the masses, which to me brings up a huge subject of how quickly technology changes, how
Yeah.
quickly NFTs are broadening their spectrum of reaching into the real world, onboarding people into the blockchain. Like you said, it's insane that in this day and age, people are still using faxes. People are still making, even phone calls. I mean, things need to move quicker. The whole reason that the digital world exists and why things can be done on a grander scale is because of, how quickly information can be stored, can be sent back and forth, can be accessed in many different ways.
Yeah.
So blending that into an NFT project with awesome art, I must say. I mean, I really do dig the art. I know that you talked earlier in this interview about being compared to certain projects, and look, I heard some of these same comparisons as well, and those are not bad things, because essentially, when somebody does something extremely successful, you like to see, maybe a different rendition of that, or something that's kind of like that, taking something that works, but then applying it in a whole different way for a real world use case, to me, could be a recipe for success if everything is done right and carried out properly. Now, I like, you already answered one of my questions, the fact that you don't have to limit this to just dogs. I mean, obviously this is the art project, everything involved is involved with dogs themselves, but there are people out there, even maybe farmers with horses, or like myself, I've got 2 little kittens running around, driving me crazy over here. That's the kind of service that I would think to myself, is this something I would want to do, or is this something that I value for my own pets themselves? So personally, I think you guys are really onto something when it comes to that. Now it just comes down to really marketing and getting that out there. I do really like the idea of you guys bringing revenue and keeping revenue into the project itself, and at the same time creating a business which can be basically expanded on in very many ways. This is all very, very exciting stuff, to be honest with you. I think more people need to understand the blockchain itself, especially look, a lot of pet owners are elderly. There's a lot of people out there who have, animals, and that's their companions, and that's like their family. That's like their kids in a way. Servicing those people is a big deal. And again, growing that influence is something special, in my opinion.
Yeah. I know you made a few good points there. And going back to, you mentioned about SIP68 being relatively new. I remember watching the video, I think it was Nick, Avatar Nick, was doing a video, a couple of, shout out Nick. But
I love that, man. He's awesome.
I think that was a couple of months ago, and it really was a case of, oh, this is all starting to come together now, because we had the idea and we were trying to think, how can we make it evolve? And it'd be like, originally it was okay, but you'd set them up and no locking on the policy, so you could, update and stuff. And then obviously when SIP68 and started looking into that, and then spoke to Nick about it and stuff, and it really fits the bill.
And
to what we want to achieve.
It just kind of came up out of nowhere, it seems. Like one day I just heard about this, and I was listening to Avatar Nick as well, and I jumped in some spaces and started learning. I'm like, oh my gosh, wait, this is a game changer. This is going to open up the door of new ingenuity and new inventiveness in the space of people. And this is a perfect example of something that was already in motion. And now the technology just came in and fit right in with, oh my gosh, now we can do this. And I don't see that stopping. I see this as just the tip of the iceberg, whether you're talking about SIP68 or whether you're talking about things that haven't even happened yet, because the inventiveness is always being pushed forward. This is why I get excited about NFTs. This is why I'm excited about crypto and blockchain technology and all of these things integrating to every aspect of our lives. And now even through what you guys are building, into people's pets and getting certificates and getting ownership and getting information that is there now at your fingertips that can really actually improve your life and the lives of your pets as well. So exciting things, man. What else do we have to talk about and share? Do we have any more utilities that we'd like to talk about? Do you guys have any surprises that people have to wait and hold their breath for? What's going on?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things that we haven't touched on that is already out there, so we can just talk about it. That's fine. So we're big on the utility plans, but we also wanted to have longevity and stuff for NFT. If you're more just into your NFTs and you're not really that bothered about utility and that side of things, or you could be both. But so we've got a breeding airdrop program coming like the second half this year. So the collection itself will be made up of female. So part of like the metadata and like the traits almost are linked to female and male dogs. So there'll be so basically there'll be some sort of, I don't want to go into too much detail, but there'll be some sort of airdrop program a bit later on in the year where if you had a female and male dog, you can like breed them. Or we want to kind of give more power to the holders here as well. So there's a couple of things we're getting in the pipeline where, for example, if you had a female dog, there's not going to be that many of them. So if you did hold one, you could almost kind of receive some sort of income or revenue from other people wanting to, other people who hold male dogs wanting to like breed and creating like NFTs and stuff. So there's a couple of things that we've got in the pipeline that we're just like finalizing before we can actually say exactly what would be happening. But no, yeah. So after the collection, we'll have, so there'll never be another main collection, by the way. So we've obviously got like the 4,444. That's the main collection. That was one of my questions,
actually. Yeah.
Like we're fully aware of, we're not going to be one of them, these projects who want to, we don't want to dilute the market with, collection after collection. So it'll be the main collection. We already had the invitations out anyway. So the burning of them to get the VIP collection, like that's just going to be like for like. So that's no more diluting. And then there'll be an element to like the breeding airdrops, but there won't be any more after that. So, and they're airdrops as well. So it won't be a case of, we're raising any more capital through NFT projects. For us, we're raising the capital through our main collection now. And then it'll be, we should be self-sufficient basically, from the revenues we bring in. Or, later down the line, we still have equity. We still have the majority equity stake in the business. So we could, potentially go out to an angel investor or something if we needed a cash injection further down the line. But I'm talking about, if we've got plans to make Poor Space like a digital one-stop type thing. So we've got big plans for it. But like I said before, it's a case of, okay, let's get the viable minimal product out first, which is like the CBAs and the pet profiles. And then we've got plans and potential revenue streams where, link like local businesses to pet owners. So we almost have like a digital one-stop for pet owners on this platform. So we've got big plans for it. But yeah, so that's kind of went off on a bit of a tangent there because we're only talking about
this is all great information because it's viable information for people who are getting ready to mint this project coming up here in 6 days. And you answered a few of my questions. Sorry, my cats are going crazy. Give me 1 second. I thought I picked up all the toys and I forgot one, the loudest one. The questions I think that I had were because you had dropped down from the original plan, 240, 400. Where are you going to split things up? That already answered my question there, which I think is great. Not diluting the main project or whatever. And then, so have you guys linked up with any, like, say, veterinarians themselves? Are you guys in talks with anybody who can really help spread this word out there amongst themselves and to their clients?
Yeah, so we have reached out to certain people, and people have reached out to us. People who are in. We've had a few vets reach out to us who are part of the blockchain community already, and awesome. Had good talks like that. So for us, we're going to get the product ready. We have asked, we've done a lot of research, and we have linked, we have spoken to other things, but for us, we want to get the product to a certain point. So we'd probably be looking to within the next, by like mid-July, end of July, we'd be in a position where we can start, them more advanced talks with, established organizations outside of the space about, and that kind of links in. So at the moment, we're consumer focused. So it's, like me and you, we own pets. Like that's like our focus at the moment. But like I touched on before, we do want to see, is there a possibility to like build some sort of like infrastructure platform where we could, improve the service that vets give already, or like, so for that side of it, we would do a lot more, go into vets and go into like these organizations and seeing what they need and how blockchain can solve their problems. So We haven't done that yet, but we're still early days in the whole process, and there's so much benefits that we know that can be realized using blockchain and stuff. So there's only so many hours in the day. So for us, it's a case of you don't spread yourself too thin, across, trying to cover so many bases. It's okay, let's get the certificates out first, pet profiles, and then go from there, really. So we've got a plan.
There's actually a lot you can do with that. And if you get people behind your cause and they see the benefits, for the pets themselves, not just the owners, but you talked about, angel investors. Look, people love their pets.
That's a big market as well, isn't it?
People out there who really, will get behind something like that because of all of the animal lovers out there. So, getting a product ready and been able to get it out there and have other people kind of just jump on that as well and want to be a part of that is something that you can really target. I wanted to know, I don't know if you've already reached out or if you have any contact with Pause for a Cause. Have you heard of them?
I have seen them pop up on my Twitter feed. I haven't reached out I haven't had the chance to reach out to them. Is something to do with is it like a stake pool operator? Is it?
No, I'm gonna get you hooked up. No, it's Ken, the machinist. He's a good friend of mine at this point. He's done a lot of things in the space. They've got a project called Pause for a Cause. They've got a lot of good things going on. They're super huge pet lovers, Ken and his wife. Shout out to you guys if you're watching this, by the way. You know how much I love you. I'll put you in direct contact with them because I think you guys, even though there's very different, aspects of your project, I think maybe they could just plug you into maybe some of the connections they might already have. Now, I'm making assumptions here, but I'm saying it's a like-minded thing. And what I like to see about this space is you get people who are really, we're junkies over here. We love, NFTs. We love the space. We love everything Web3 and everything that has to do with it. And when you start to link up with each other, you start to gain momentum with each other. Who knows what door could be open just from forming those kind of partnerships because somebody gets behind exactly what you're doing. I mean, they're called Pause for a Cause for a reason. I'm actually surprised you guys don't know each other yet. I'm very happy to make that link for you. So I'm going to be hooking you guys up with that. And you guys can, for whatever it's worth, just kind of help each other go down that road because we're all here growing for a reason. So
and I think that's probably, like you just said, Ben, it's probably one of the most uplifting things about the space, isn't it? It's, when you do make these connections and it's just, you can benefit each other and, like one person grows, you all grow really. And for us, it's about trying to bring people over to Cardano. So, we've got a common goal really between, other projects and stuff. So it's for me, if I see someone doing like an innovating product or, innovating project, I'm fully behind it. I almost go back to like me DJing days where I'm like, when, like any updates, I want to like, how are you getting on and stuff like that. So like, I'm still a massive fan of, the Cardano and the ecosystem. And I don't think you could, you couldn't be in here every day if you wasn't fully behind it and, you're really pushing for it. So, and I know you're like the same, aren't you? You're here showing up every day and stuff.
Absolutely. And it's all relationship built to me. And you never know what one relationship can really lead to down the road. I mean, a lot of the things that we start here, we don't end up where we're at, without making these friends, these partnerships, these people who are like-minded and believe, like you said, in, the space itself. There's a lot of good people doing a lot of good things, and I'm loving to see what you guys are building. I'm rooting for you guys. Full disclosure on Ultimate CNFT, I am minting this project. I do hold some passes. I'm excited to know I can do some things with those passes. I'm excited to know that I can be a part of the business that you're building. And, I'll be having my eyes on mint day as well as minting myself. So we're going to wrap this up here. We're about 45 minutes in. Is there anything you would like to share with us that maybe we didn't talk about, or the stage is all yours? We'll give it a few more minutes before we close this out.
I think we've covered most things. We've still got some additional utility that we haven't touched on, but I won't really bore you with that too much. It's just, so we've got the breeding airdrops, we've got the digital ownership in the company, and then the passive rewards through Pore Space, but we've also got like a community. So part of the fund, it's worth knowing that all our mint proceeds, they've been carefully allocated across all like key areas of development really. So we've got 5% that's going towards community, and then this will really link in with, we want to bring in partnerships with other projects within the space. So when we started out, the main focus for that pot was going to be partner staking and going down that route. Whereas, we'd be willing to hear from the community and maybe adapt that to. I've been looking at potentially the option of making that into like a bit of a pot where the community can go through. Is it summons? Where people are like where you have like multi sigs and stuff on a certain wallet, so almost like a DAO. So we've got like so you've got like all the other utilities, but then we'll have like this community pot as well. So that's like another cool little aspect to it, and hopefully it'll bring the community even closer together. It's really just, if you haven't been in our Discord already, you're more than welcome to jump in. I'm happy to jump on a call with you, or, the team are always happy to answer any questions. It's a nice place to come. A lot of like-minded people, and we're here for the long run, should I say. So jump in and join us, and yeah,
and I would say this, if you're watching this before June 13th, you still have an opportunity to mint this. Real quick, your mint details, if you want to run through us again, it's a print run of 4,400. Your mint price, you said it was
155, so 155.
Okay, yeah. And then how much of a portion of that is going to be left over for like a public sale portion of the NFTs?
So I've actually got it here. Something I prepared earlier. No, so I think it's 40. So how it's going to be split is the invitation holders can mint up to 5. So potentially a max of 2,000 would go to them. So that'd be 45%. The 700 pedigree tickets out there, they can mint 2. So that's 1,400. So that's 32%. So currently, the minimum that public that'll be available for public would be 22%.
Okay.
But it's likely that it'll probably be a bit more. I'm saying that because I know we haven't sent out all the invitations. We haven't really been in a massive rush because we've got plans after mint as well.
Okay.
So it's a case of.
Hey, if you need help distributing some of those, let us know, man. We got a lot of people that gobble those right up.
We could do a giveaway on this, couldn't we?
We sure could.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's going to be, I think it'll be at least 25%, probably more realistically, it'll be, available for public. Okay. And then, 155, June 13th. And the times will be coming out shortly.
And I'll tell you what, you guys, if you want to find out all the information that you need to do, doing your own research, which I always implore on this channel, all the links to everything will be in the description box below. So, Patrick, I'd like to thank you for spending nearly an hour here with us. A lot of great information. I learned about quite a bit more about the project in an hour speaking with you than I have doing my own research over the past couple of months because time is spread out. But look, very much looking forward to Mint Day, keeping an eye on this. Again, coming out of the bottom of the bear market, I think is a really great time for a project like yours to be launching. So, we're rooting for you over here. If there's anything you need from me at Ultimate CNFT, I always back up the people who are here working hard and building in the space, no matter what's going on around us. If you have any last thoughts, please share them. If not, we're going to get this up and share this with the fam, the Ultimate fam. Like and subscribe, you guys, if you have not done that yet. We got a lot more information coming up on Ultimate CNFT. Share your circle of influence with everybody you know and love. And that's what we work so hard for.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. And look forward to speaking to you again shortly.
Oh, yes, sir. We'll be doing some updates on what you guys have been doing. Hey, listen, I love all of you guys. Thank you for your support. If you've made it this far, you're a true supporter. Shout out from me to you. Shout out from Patrick to me to you. Peace and love to all y'all. God bless.